Alright, this is Sawyer, and we're here with another part of my collection showcasing. Uh, the first several books are going to be some Punisher books that I just have in my collection. Nothing really too special, just some various late 80s, 90s Punisher books. Most of them I got for like really cheap back in the day. So, first up we have probably my favorite cover among these, Punisher Warzone number 11. I really love this cover. I love the idea that he's covered in snow and he looks so pissed off, like he's been camping over in that spot for like hours waiting for somebody. It's a fun cover. And it's weird. Like I have a thing for Punisher covers that involve snow, because I swear every cover I see that involves snow with this character always looks really badass. It usually has a very ominous, kind of eerie feel to it. Like just another one that I can think of right off the bat, where it's basically it's like a long pan out shot of Punisher walking, and he's very small in the picture. He's like basically walking through the snow with an axe over his shoulder, and then like and kind of like closer in the foreground to where where the viewer would look at. There's a person hanging from a tree, and he's like so it's a cool cover. Yeah, love the perspective of the cover, the way the perspectives are. Um, and then we have this one is really cool, Punisher Warzone number 10, an issue right before that. I actually picked up quite a few Punisher Warzones one day, and they were all very close in the issue count. So I was like, yeah, sure. They were cheap. They were like $1 a piece or something. So, yep, that cover is not really interesting, but yeah. Then we have this Punisher Wolverine Marvel Knights number 3. Yeah, I really don't like the art on this. I think both characters are drawn terribly on this cover, but I'm not an artist, so I can't really complain that much, I guess. Then we have this a little bit older Punisher issue, Punisher number 37. This is part of Jigsaw's Puzzle, part 3 of 6. That's a really kind of lazy name for a miniseries, I think. Or story arc. It's a really lazy name. I mean, come on now. Kind of on the nose, Jigsaw's Puzzle. Then we have Punisher number 9, Warzone. This is it's kind of interesting cover. This guy's basically just he's trying to kill Punisher with some piano wire. It's just it's a little fun little cover. And that actually happens in the issue, because a lot of times this cover art doesn't actually even happen, but that actually does happen in the issue. Then we have Jigsaw's Puzzle Part 2, that same little miniseries. This is Punisher number 36. And I don't know, I never noticed that before, but if you look like really close up here on the Marvel title card section, I don't know if you can see it too good, but there's like some weird kind of colorization on Frank's chest piece on on the skull right above the number 36, and I don't know what that is. Now that looks like it's actually printed into the cover, so I don't know if that's a printing error or if that's just the way they drew the Punisher's chest piece. But I don't understand why that would be the way they drew Punisher's chest piece, because it looks completely out of ordinary. I mean, look at it. I mean, it looks like there's some weird like tie-dye color stuff going on right on the top of the skull's eye. So I don't know. I just thought that was weird. Yeah. Then we have Punisher Warzone number 13. This is part of I have a couple parts to this. This is part of like a little mini story run they did in this book. That's really good. It's basically the idea is like Punisher's trying to catch this guy, and him and the guy he's going after basically get caught up in the experiment that other criminals are doing, and the criminals like knock them both out, and when they wake up, they're inside of like a small community, and their memories have been like kind of wiped away, and they've been brainwashed, and so Frank is living with his family that's like basically actors or whatever. They're paid to pretend to be his family, and Frank's basically he's got his mind he's all drugged up, and he actually believes he's part of his family. It's a really cool storyline. It reminds me a lot of like the classic Superman storyline Alan Moore wrote. What do you get, the man that has everything? Kind of reminds me of that, which in return is also kind of inspiration for the Arrow episode that they had in the crossover last year. Where Arrow's reliving his life, as a perfect scenario where he has all his family. So yeah, it's basically it's kind of a classic storyline that gets used a lot nowadays. Of like of the dream world, where the what if world where the hero has all this, where hero has all the stuff that he lost. He has no reason to fight, but then but then he realizes it's not real, and he has to kind of go back to reality, because he has responsibilities and people he really needs to save. It's a very good storyline. I mean, if done right, it can be really good. And this is a good example of when it's done right, because the story is actually really good. Of course, Frank, being who Frank is, being how driven he is, he starts noticing small details that are off, and he starts realizing that this is not what it seems, and he has to kind of use his skill sets kind of come out, even though he doesn't realize he has them. He ends up having to defend himself and realizes he can actually fight, and it's a really cool storyline. I didn't actually I don't have the last issue of it, so I don't know how it ends. I'm sure it doesn't end well for the people that are doing the experiment, though. I can guarantee that. But next up, we have another Punisher issue. This is another part of the Jigsaw. This is the Jigsaw's puzzle #1. So yeah, this is kind of a cool little Jigsaw cover. And then we have the other part of that storyline I was just talking about, with the dream, with the drugs and stuff. So this is kind of a cool cover, because it's actually he's sitting with his family watching TV. And I like the word bubble, like warning, the scene does appear in this issue. So, which I'm sure was a good way to kind of make people, oh, what? I gotta buy this. No, Frank's back with his family. Then we have this Dennis the Menace issue, number 13 from Marvel's comic groups. I just wanted to say it that way because that's what it says on the top. And yeah, just a kind of a random kids, property Marvel comic. Marvel used to be, back in the day, Marvel used to be like the kings of licensed material. Like, they were always doing licensed books. Nowadays, DC and Marvel don't really do that as many licensed books. I mean, they do certain licenses that they kind of have control over, but they don't really do that many. Like, it used to be back in the day. It used to be anytime you had a big sci-fi movie or a big genre movie, Marvel was doing the book for it. Star Wars, Star Trek, Battlestar Galactica, all that stuff. But nowadays it seems like that kind of stuff goes to more third-party companies like like Dynamic or Dark Horse or stuff like that. Not really saying Dark Horse is third party. I mean, I'm not sure exactly how high up Dark Horse is in the hierarchy anymore. Then we have Cyber War Deathlock number 18. It's kind of a 90s Deathlock cover. He's fighting with Silver Staple, which I was never really a big fan of her character, but whatever. Some people like her. Then we have this Legion of Superheroes issue, number 7. This is from like kind of a more modernized version of the Legion of Superheroes that like the mid '80s. I like this cover though. It's got lots of stuff going on, lots of combat. You can see Phantom Girls putting her hand through somebody's face. It's pretty cool. It's a robot, so they could do that. It's funny that in comic books you can always show more violent stuff when it's a robot, because nobody cares. He's not live. Then we have Captain Atom number 36. Pretty cool cover. I like the concept of this cover. I just like the idea that Captain Atom is like he's being split apart, like all his parts of his body are coming off, and they're looking like bubbles and stuff. It's kind of a cool artistic concept. Then we have this number 13 of the Champions. Champions is a weird comic, man. This is a weird kind of mid-70s book where they basically took a bunch of superheroes that were kind of like not really as well established as other heroes, and they just put them in a team, and it was really weird. It's like it's like a potluck of superheroes thrown into a team together. They didn't really have any real chemistry with each other, and most of them never really associated with each other before, but they were a team. Because for example, you have Angel, who's part of the X-Men, usually. He's most known for being part of the X-Men. Then you have Black Widow that has mostly ties with S.H.I.E.L.D. or mostly ties with the Avengers. You got Hercules, which also kind of has ties with the Avengers a little bit. But then you throw them together with Angel, and then Iceman is on this team. So you got 2 X-Men, 2 Avengers. But then you also have a couple really oddballs, like you have Ghost Rider's on the team. Like Ghost Rider's usually a loner, so it's just weird that Yeah, it's weird mix up of people, but it kind of worked, I guess. They're fun books to pick up. Um, then we have a couple of these classic illustrateds. First one is The Reign of Terror, or In the Reign of Terror, which I've never even heard this novel before, but you know, I guess it's a thing. And it's kind of a cool cover. Then we have a Treasure Island one. So that's, you know, I have heard of this book because I think everybody's heard of this book. Then we have a cool little one-shot from the 90s, Ghost Rider Wolverine Punisher. You know, really interesting title. Well, actually, the title's down here. The Heart of Darkness is actually the title of the book. But yeah, this is a cool thing. It's done. I think, who does the art for this? Is it John Romita Jr.? I think it is. But you know, it's kind of one of those gimmicky things. You know, literally they just took the three biggest kind of anti-hero characters of the time, because this is during the time when anti-heroes were all the rage. I mean, they're still kind of popular, but this is when they were really big. And you basically took the three biggest ones, Punisher, Ghost Rider, and Wolverine. You throw them together, and you have this like just crazy story where they're basically fighting the devil. You know, that's what they do. That's what anti-heroes do. Um, if I remember right, this has a pretty cool little pull-out poster kind of thing in the middle. And it's a pretty thick book. I mean, I don't know how much this was back in the day, but this is a pretty nice thick book. It's basically like it's basically a mini graphic novel one shot is what it is. Then we have this Boros Koloff Tales of Mystery number something. It's a pretty cool cover. It's really banged up, but it's a really cool cover. I love these old Goki kind of painted covers. I've said that a lot because I have a lot of them. Most of the ones I have are not in that great of shape because I've had them for years, and I just, after a while, sometimes you just end up putting your book somewhere and to get them out of the way in storage, and then you kind of regret it later because it wasn't the best storage method. Yeah, stuff happens. Then we have Unity number 0. And I've probably talked about Unity before. I'm sure I have because it's a really good story. But this is an amazing little event that Valiant Comics did, like way back, like in their first year of publication. They used to do So this is back when Valiant only had maybe a handful of characters. Most of their comic titles were only like maybe 4 or 5 issues in. You know, they weren't very far in, and they decided to do this big event to kind of tie everything together and basically kind of put the building blocks of the company together. And what's really cool about this, well, there's a few things that are really cool about this storyline. You know, one being that it's very consistent, and that another thing being that all the characters feel like they actually have a big part to play. Even the smaller characters that don't have as many powers or whatever, even they feel like they actually play a big part in this role in the story. But probably the biggest thing about this is that this story sets the foundation for this universe. And for basically until the time this universe was canceled, that the company was, put in a big trouble or whatever. Until that time, this storyline, the stepping stones put in the storyline continued to be the foundation. That's a really good achievement for comic books. It's hard for comic book companies to want to keep their continuity that straight, that tight. But this did it, man. Like, because this is a story that's set in kind of like it's kind of a time travel story a little bit, because it's like set like in a limbo type area, and there's characters from different time periods that meet together in this story. Like, you got some future versions of the heroes, and you got some normal versions and all that. So it really is interesting, like, because they revealed a bunch of things in this book that didn't even pop up until like 2 or 3 years later in the publication. Certain events were referenced that were going to happen in the future, and they didn't even happen until like 3 years later, 1990 or whatever. But I just thought that was cool. I love how they were able to kind of keep themselves on track that long, and be consistent. I appreciate that. That's one of the things I like the most in comic books is consistency. Then we have the last comic book we have today is West Coast Avengers number 15. Just kind of a weird, goofy cover in my opinion. I mean, I've always fought this villain. I don't know what his name is. I really don't know. Is that his name? Master Pantheon or whatever. This guy is just one of the weirdest villains, man, in my opinion. He literally creates monsters. He creates living creatures from his limbs. Like, as you can see, they come out of his legs, they come out of his arms. It's just a weird character. yeah, so yeah, that's all I got for that one. Just weird. But yeah, thanks guys for watching. This is my this is the video, and I'll be coming out with some more very soon. So just keep an eye out.